Welcome to Say It Sis. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm so happy, babe. Look at the viewers we got. Keep it coming. I see the viewers already. I'm hyped already, babe. Go ahead.
I am so excited. I know we're gonna have a lot of viewers tonight because this is a very, very special live that we're doing. But before I go any further, I am Rebecca Faith, one of the co-founders of Sis Inc, and this is my sister and my partner, Miss Santana Payne. And thank you for joining us for tonight for our Ask a Man segment. I'm super excited. Tana, are you ready?
I am ready. I am more than ready. I see the hearts and the likes coming in, so I'm super excited already.
Yeah, so for everybody this is your first time watching us live or tuning in, Say It Sis is a community designed to empower, embolden, and encourage women of color to be their best selves, to be beautiful, to be loved, and to be heard.
Becky, that's absolutely right. On this community, we want women to be unapologetically them, to speak boldly in things that they do. And most importantly, like you said, be beautiful, be loved, and completely heard. So listen, ladies, we heard the questions. We saw them come in. There were so many questions, right? That we got to get to. But before we even start that, let's see what we got, because we got comments coming in already, babe.
Let's go see our people. Come on, y'all. Drop those comments.
We got Miss Rochelle saying good morning, good evening, Sister Rebecca and Sister Santana. Hey, Rochelle. We got another Facebook user saying hello. Remember, you got to grant StreamYard permissions on your side in order for it to come across as your name. We do want to know who you are. We got Maria saying, hey, my beautiful sisters. Hey, girls. Hey, sisters. And then we got a few more comments coming in. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
Hey. I think they ready, Tana. I think that they are excited.
Yes. Make sure that y'all do exactly what y'all doing. Keep those comments coming. The men, they not nervous, y'all. We already asked. They said they're not nervous. So the men are going to come up. And so y'all keep the comments coming for them. Talk to them. We'll pull some of your comments up on the screen, your questions up on the screen. Keep them coming. But most importantly, Beck, tell them what they need to do first. They need
to like, share, and subscribe to all our platforms. We are currently streaming this live on our Facebook page, within our Say It Sis Facebook group, and on our YouTube. So you should be tagging your friends, say, hey girl, they got that Ask a Man tonight. Let's go ahead and tune in. Like, share, subscribe. All our information is going across the bottom of the screen, and get everybody in front of the TV to watch this Ask a Man segment. So tonight's show is super special because we have a big panel of awesome men who will be spending an hour or so with us answering questions that were submitted by you all, our platform, the amazing and beautiful women of the Say It Sis platform. So the questions tonight is going to be a roundtable format. We are going to ask a series of questions, do a quick little break, take some questions from the audience, love on the men a little bit before we go into our next round of questions. And the questions are going to be from everything from fatherhood, manhood, relationships, leadership, single parenting. It's going to be a plethora of knowledge that these men are going to share with us tonight. So get everybody together, get in front of the TV, and let's get it started. Go ahead, Tana.
Absolutely. You are so right, Becky. We've been preparing for this with all these questions. We've been working hard to consolidate those questions to make sure that we get as many answered all at once. I'm ready to explore the world of men. You ready, Becky?
I'm ready.
And we will right after this commercial.
All right, guys, we are back and we don't want to waste any time. So we are going to start bringing up our panel. So for the first panelist, his name is Sean Bailey. He is a Navy Command Master Chief. He's married with 2 handsome sons, and he's a franchise owner for a British swim school. So everybody drop some love as we bring Sean up. Come on, Sean.
Hey, everybody. It's a pretty cool opportunity for Becky to ask me to come on the show, and Santana, what a great opportunity, looking to help you guys out wherever I can. So, send away. Here to help out. Thank you guys again. Great opportunity.
Thank you, Sean.
I got some hearts for Sean. Thank you, Sean.
All right. The next panelist is a good friend of mine for over 20 years. I'm not that old, but he is. His name is Daniel Reeves. He is a Navy veteran. He is an IT professional. He is a father, and he is just an awesome man that focuses his time on mental, spiritual, and physical growth and development. So without further ado, Daniel, come on to the screen.
How's everybody doing? Thanks for having me on here. I'm looking forward to giving you guys my opinion. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
So
everybody drop some hearts for Daniel. And he came all the way from California.
Hey, from California.
And then this next handsome gentleman that I'm going to be bringing up is like my big brother. He is a search and rescue, critical care, trauma, and flight nurse. He is a husband to a beautiful bride, and he has 4 handsome sons, and his name is Chad. Oh, Maya, come on up, Chad, and welcome to the platform.
Becky, Santana, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be a part of this panel. So thank you. Look forward to talking with everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Y'all drop some hearts for Chad. All right, Tana, it's your turn, girlie.
All right. And we got 3 more panelists that we're bringing up right here. The next panelist we got is John Davis, right? He is a married father of 4. He's a program manager for surgical and urology technology disciplines. And we are so excited to have John on the platform. Welcome, John.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Hey, John.
Y'all drop some hearts for John. We are super excited to have you, John. Thank you so much. We're going to get to some of these comments because y'all got fans out here. I saw, hey, Mr. Reeves. I don't know who that was, Mr. Reeves. And hey, Sean. We saw those comments coming across, so we're going to pull those up. So our next guest I'm going to bring up is Luis Tanaki, right? Tanaki is a Navy chief. He currently is a leading chief petty officer, in the preventive medicine department. We know we need people in the preventive medicine department, especially with COVID, right? And right now he holds a bachelor's in healthcare management, and we are so super excited for you to be here. I'm sorry, Tanaki, I just butchered that. I'm so sorry.
No. It's okay, Santana. Hello, Sis Inc Platform. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Tana. I look forward to answering all the questions.
All right. Y'all make sure y'all keep those hearts coming. Go ahead, share this video. If you haven't shared it already, to share it to somebody else. These questions y'all wanted to know. So make sure y'all share that video. All right. And then our final guy that we have here, he is retired. He's a veteran out of the military. And right now he works as a occupational therapy assistant. He's also married with 4 children and a grandchild. We welcome Earl Payne.
Hey, Mr. Payne.
How y'all doing, everybody? Sis Inc Platform. Ready for y'all questions.
Okay. He's ready.
He's ready. They're not wasting any time. All right, now.
All right, babe. Let's get to a couple of these comments. Someone says, hello, Sean. Again, it says, hello, Mr. Reeves. Someone says, Chad. All right. And then someone's saying, hey, son. I don't know who that is, but you got to grant StreamYard permissions for us to see your name. You have another, hey, Chad. And then, of course, Maria with, hi, Luis. Hope you are doing well. So y'all got fans out there, people who know y'all, right? And they say, hey, y'all, hey. Go ahead, Beck.
All right, listen, I don't want to take up too much time because we got so much information to cover. Do we have a commercial, Tana?
We sure do. Let's go to another commercial break.
Why do I need to be good all the time? I'm wrapped around his finger, but he is mine. Don't care what they say, too late anyway. Why do I need to be good all the time? no drama, no drama, yeah. Nah, 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 no drama, no drama, yeah, yeah.
All right, we are back and we are ready to jump in and get started. So, we talked to these men, in depth before we came onto the platform. So they are here to give us their true opinions and their true and honest answer to the questions that were submitted by the multiple women on the platform. So the topics, like I said, go from anything from relationships to single parenting, leadership, marriage, how you grew up, fatherhood, and just the list goes on and on. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first round of questions. And are there any men who were raised with a single parent by a single mother at all? Are y'all muted? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was raised by my grandmother. She was a single parent. Is there anything else you want to know?
Yes. So I just want to kind of throw the question out because I'm going to kind of give people like a little premise to the questions that we're going to get into. But thanks. So for the first question, how easy is it for you to take advice from a woman, and does your relationship with your mother or your grandmother affect that at all?
So my grandmother had 8 children. She had 6 girls, so I was surrounded by women. So it's not hard for me to take advice from women, but it just depends on how that advice is being given.
Awesome. So what ways is like a negative way versus a positive way that you would say?
A positive way is if that individual is expressing, if there's a concern and she's trying to give advice where she's trying to correct something, then if she explains where she's coming from and what she sees as being a problem and a way to change that so that in the future that it's not an issue, then I have no problem accepting that. But if she just comes flat out and say, for an example, you need to do this to correct that, then you're not necessarily helping me. You're kind of belittling me and telling me I need to do something because you necessarily didn't like it. So
thank you so much from that perspective. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Tana.
So no, what I was gonna say is that question, that can open up to any of the guys to jump in, not necessarily directed at single people who grew up with a single mother. I mean, when taking advice from a woman, does your relationship with your mother kind of dictate or helps to helps to give you direction on how you do take advice from a woman, if that makes sense? Because what I did hear from Daniel is it's all about the approach. It's about how you come across, how the woman is actually saying something to you. Would you say, Daniel, just to kind of pull it while the other guys are thinking, would you say that the approach, if it's more of a dominant effect, because sometimes women can kind of be more dominant and direct as they're speaking, would you say that is a way that you don't really, you might not care for?
So I guess that would 9 times out of 10, when a woman is just telling you how to correct something, she is displaying a sense of dominance. So yeah, that could be the case. Another flip side to that is because I knew who my mother was because she was battling her own demons. That can also play a role in how you perceive women in power, because when you don't receive that care, that love, and that nurture from your mother, you kind of tend to think that when you look at a woman, you perceive this negative view, in a sense, like I didn't receive that from my mother, so why am I gonna accept that from you? In a sense, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It absolutely does. And again, there's no right or wrong answers. It's exactly what you said earlier. You give me your opinion and your thoughts, and I appreciate you for clarifying. Any other guys?
So I guess I can come in. So Can you hear me, Tana?
I can.
Okay, so I kind of have the opposite, I guess, perspective. So I grew up in a Latin household, originally in Mexico, and then we later moved on to the United States. But um, most of the male figures in my family um, started coming to the United States to establish work and financial means to support their families. But I too, I guess, in a way, grew up in a household full of women. So for me, it's very easy to take advice from women, regardless of how it's being delivered. I guess from an outsider's perspective, more so, I guess, in a cultural level, it can seem as a very submissive um, personality that I guess a man kind of portrays. But I feel it just depends on the delivery of the message and how that individual man perceives it. Because I think women can have both submissive and dominating personalities. But it also just depends on how people interpret it and what type of conversations or what type of advice is being overheard. Is it being done behind closed doors or is it being done in public? So I think it kind of goes back and forth, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Okay, good. So it basically, what I'm hearing in general, it really depends on the cultural background of how you're perceiving things, and also the tone, again, how it comes across. So looks like thank you so much, Tanaki. Thank you so much, Daniel. We're gonna move on to the next question, right? So maybe this one will get a lot of the men more speaking a little bit more. So why is it perceived, when we're talking about being in relationships, why is it perceived that men can have difficulty with being transparent with what they want?
Who going first?
Go first.
It was a pretty easy one.
All right, let's go ahead. Shoot.
I don't want to talk over nobody, but I'll go ahead and go. Sometimes it's like, I think if we be transparent, we can see what we want to say, but sometimes it's like telling it to females like, all right, you're not getting it. Let me just do what I need to do, because if I try to break it all down step by step, it's gonna like, oh, you could have just said this, and it's like it turns into a big rigmarole, it turns into an argument or something like that. But being transparent with y'all, sometimes it's a for me it's like a feeling thing. Like if I was like, hey man, I think I really want to do this, she's gonna shut it down. Let me go ahead and just do what I need to do, and we just handle it like that. But I just think it gets muddy when we try to be too transparent. So sometimes we just like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and this, but we just like chop it down in 1 and 2 steps instead of just breaking everything down. Been like, oh, I want to do this, I'm gonna flip this and do that, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this. It just, I feel like if I have to explain all that, it's just gonna get muddier. So transparency for me is like, just show you what you need to show to get the point across, and just keep it moving.
So I think men are logical creatures, right? So if I tell my wife or my significant other, I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I just want to go make that peanut butter and jelly sandwich and eat it. She's going to be like, well, why do you want the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Do you have a sweet tooth? Do you want some bread? Or no, I just want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I can't necessarily be transparent, because me being transparent as a man is really just, it makes logical sense to me. This is what I want to do. There is no feeling behind it. It's just, this is what I'm thinking right now. I want to do it. Let's do it. This is what I want right now. Let's go get it. I want a pair of shoes. I'm going to the store to get shoes. I'm not going to the store to browse. I'm not going to the store because, oh, I need to relieve some steam or anything like that. I just need to get what I need to get or do what I need to do and be done with it. That's me being transparent. But for a woman, I just think that, no, there's got to be more to it. It has to be. It just can't be that. You just can't be hungry for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We just ate dinner minutes ago. There's no way you could want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So it just needs, I just think that from a male perspective, when you're asking us to be transparent, you need to just accept that if I'm telling you something, or if we're telling you something, accept it for face value. It doesn't necessarily have to have a deeper meaning to it.
I get it. Like I literally get it. Like it's it's simplified. It is what it is. You know, it's nothing extra behind it. And that made me even think about forgiveness and how, you know, sometimes it takes women a little bit longer to forgive because of that that simplicity. Oh no, it had to be something about her. Oh no, it's and some things that we take for like that it has to be more than that. It really is simple face value. And I can tell you, I learned that not only from my husband, but also raising boys. But this ain't about me. Who's next?
Listen, you know, men, we're just big dumb animals. You know, women think really into a lot of things. A man just, especially when it comes to like dealing with women, a man just wants to fix it, right? There's stuff going on. I mean, how can I fix it? How can I fix it? A woman does not want to hear that. They don't want you to fix it. They want you to listen and go through the 6 ways from Sunday on how to do whatever. And a man doesn't think like that. And like I said, we're just big dumb animals. And so we just know this way. And so that causes a lot of where the transparency doesn't come in the best, little issues with that.
Got
If you just ever watched that YouTube video with the girl with the nail in her head, just look that up. You'll understand exactly what we're talking about. The girl basically, she has a nail in her head. She keeps talking to her husband, hey, I have these crazy headaches. And she's like, I don't know what it is. I've talked to all my friends. And the man is just like, do you think maybe it's the nail in your head? And she's like, it's not the damn nail. I don't have a nail in my head. So just Google nail in the head argument, and that about sums it up.
Thank you all. That was really good. Let's segue into the next question. This is going to be for men in leadership, which is most of you all in your own occupations. Do you feel that women in leadership positions are equally represented or given enough credit in the organizations that you've worked with?
I would say yes. Specifically in our organization, I think women do a good job of being represented. One of the tougher things sometimes is trying to get women to follow so you can put them in a position to win in the workplace. Let me specify that, within the workplace. Because sometimes they may not see your vision that you have for them, and they just might see it from a more narrow view.
Okay, thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
I see it's in our community, definitely a lot of women are in charge, and not even for the medical side, but me exclusively as a CMC. I've worked for almost exclusively women CEOs. And I know most people find that hard to believe, but almost exclusively female CEOs. It's not hard for people to work for women in power, but I will tell you what I have seen is more women try to burn those other women in power down than you will ever see a man try to burn that woman down in power. That competition between at that level with the ladies, it is fierce. A guy will line up real quick. Okay, what do I got to do? Got it, understand, and he'll move out. I think women tend to undercut each other a lot more than I've ever seen male CEOs and other males in leadership positions.
That's a really
go ahead, babe.
No, I was going to say that's a really interesting perspective. So when you've been in situations or when you've witnessed that, how do you like support or how do you engage in situations like that?
Advise. That's what I was going to ask. Advise. How do you do that?
There's nothing different than you tell two guys, except guys typically, hey, I don't like you. I don't like you. Cool. What do we got to do? Them, it's never going to end. You're not going to stop it. But I'm not going to say you're not going to stop it, but it's difficult to get that situation normal again.
That's interesting. But
so you have to remind them that we're all on the same team here. Mm-hmm. You're in charge of your own little piece of the pie, and that's great. But I need you to kind of line up with everybody else so we can kind of do what we need to do.
But as he pointed out, most men can put aside their differences to achieve the objective. But when it comes to women, as he said, being so fierce, instead of them working out their differences, 9 times out of 10, from what I've experienced, somebody's going to leave because they don't want to be a part of it anymore. Because they're going to feel like they're never going to be treated fairly, or they're never going to get that opportunity. So, and in my field, women are not, they're not highly represented. So you try, or this field is trying its best to get women to be represented a lot more, but it's because of that I think women are not represented as much as they could be.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I don't know if like some of this is based off specific job, coal miners. I don't know if there's a lot of women being represented in coal mine leadership, and I don't know, but like Sean has said, in our professional where we are, I think they're very, very well represented and very, very good. But it goes back to that trailblazing and how women might not have been in this circumstance or predicament like the men have been represented in typically a male dominated area, like you could say the military or whatever, in the past years. And maybe it's that sense of, because there haven't been that many and there's such trailblazers doing it, it might be why there's that fierce competition.
Absolutely. That's an awesome perspective.
So are y'all saying that men don't compete with women?
I'm not saying that men don't compete with women, but
so what happens when that relationship happens like that? When you see a situation where, I know you guys said predominantly you see situations where there is a woman on woman type catty situation, but what about the situations when there is a competition between the man and the woman?
Oh, that's behind closed doors.
I've also seen that, just to segue before you start, I've also seen that in relationships, like marriages and stuff, where there's competition between the man and the woman. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I see some smiling from John Davis.
Competition. Let's talk on that one. Sometimes I do think me and my wife were in a little bit of competition, but I don't think it was me really saying that she couldn't do it. I just think at that point in time, I was just in a better situation than she was. However, the money still comes to the house, and the money is still hers, is how I look at it. So it doesn't really bother me any to compete with my wife in being in the military, since we're both in. It didn't bother me to compete. I would have no problems with taking a backseat to her career if it meant that she was going to get to that next step and the step after that of whatever she wanted to accomplish. So is there a competition? Yes, but who do you look at as competition of the opposite or of the same sex is my real question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Anybody else want to elaborate before we go on to the next question? Thank you, John, for being open enough to share that about your marriage. I appreciate that. Anybody else? All right. Since we're talking marriage, let's talk about marriage and relationships. So what was the defining for our married men? What was the defining moment when you knew your wife was the one? Like, what made her like, ooh, pop, wifeys? Make sure y'all in the comments.
So that's another easy one. I mean, with my situation, I'm not going to give y'all too much of my business and just give you a little touch of it. When you can accept me for my situation and not judge all the other situations that I had, I mean, that was it for me. And plus, I was a little bit tired of Roman, is the way I'm going to say it.
I'll tell you business, man. I'll say for me, man, kind of the same deal in my situation, man. I think it was like getting to that point to where it's like, yo, like, this is the one. She's not playing games. She's about me regardless of what I had going on. Even though I was hard-headed, I was doing A, B, C, and D. When it came down to it, like, she was the ride or die. She was still there regardless. And it kind of just made me change everything I was doing. And I was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And it kind of, it went that route. But like, she would tell everybody, we touch drove the car before we got there. We touch drove the car before we got there. And we here now.
Somebody in the comments say, John and Payne, tell the truth. Y'all that tell the truth? They want to know all the tea. I got tea right here for them. I was waiting for them to spill the tea. We got the tea. We wait for them.
Got it.
Someone said, "Love it, love it." Anybody else want to share about the wife being the one?
Listen, my wife's a smoke show, so she had me like hook, line, and sinker right off the bat, and you know, it was like that. That was it for me. So that's about it.
Were there any like specific characteristics? Would you give, or just give one specific characteristic about your wife that just makes her just that person?
Like always wanting to have a good time.
A good time. She's
Hilarious.
a whole vibe.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, she a whole vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, John?
That really get John in trouble.
He look around. John, be careful.
She's just a good person.
It looks like she might be in the room with John. Y'all pay attention to his signals. It looks like she's in the room. All right, y'all got love it. You got somebody saying awesome. You also got somebody saying okay, yes, okay. What about you, Earl? Before we move on to the next question.
Mine had this. She had this smile. She always had this perfect teeth, but what always caught my eye was that dimple that she had. That she gave it to our kids. So they all got that little dimple right there.
Dimple caught the eye.
There it is.
I think Sean married too. Sean, what was the defining moment that your beautiful wife, you decided that she was the one?
This may come as a surprise, but she followed me around the world off multiple deployments, and honestly, I just couldn't get rid of her. She just kept coming back. She was like a Terminator. And I think, honestly, the defining moment when I knew that she was the one, because I was just like, no, I don't want to get married. And we got married. And it's like, no, I don't want to have kids. And then we have kids. And then we had our first baby. We were in Pendleton, and her parents came out. And we brought our little boy home, and she went out for a walk with her mom, and I'm holding my son. And all of a sudden, this dude is just crying. And I'm just like, okay, I know he wants food. That's not me. She's out walking, and I call her up on the phone. I'm just like, Allison, I need you to come back here. The boy's crying, and he needs to eat, and you have what he needs. And that girl just stopped what she was doing, and she came back. And the defining moment is before we were married, all we did was just party, riding Harleys, hanging out with our friends, going to the beach. We were just getting crazy for about 10 years. And then we had the kids. And then she went from party girl, like, Florida, Georgia line, Daisy boots, cowboy boots, hair back, leather vest on a Harley. Overnight, she went from party girl to mom. And I was just like, holy shit, maybe I did make the right decision, But I would say that was probably the defining moment that I was just like, this is it. She just miraculously changed. The pendulum had shifted. And now, originally when we first got married, I just thought I got this girl with these beautiful blue eyes and this really cute butt. But then once you see that and you see the value that they add to your life, then I'm just like, man, I'm really just lucky every day, to be honest with you.
Look at you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's so
Lucky every day.
every day.
Okay. You know what? We always have this situation where when we're on the chat, it'd be one person that come through and then the mic drops. Okay, Sean, that was a mic drop. That was a little mic drop. I like that. Okay.
She watching live.
Yeah.
Like.
Somebody did say you was gonna be in trouble, Sean. So that's you finished that. You wrapped that right back right.
He's downstairs taking care of the boys right now. So
Okay. And you got some hearts from what you said. The ladies tuning in, or fellas, they're giving y'all some love out there. Awesome. Go ahead, Bet. You want to hit the next question?
Yes, this next question is about fatherhood. Is being a father something that you felt ready for?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
I had mine real young. My first one was I was 15, so I was getting ready to embark on a football career. I had a scholarship over to TCU to play running back. talked to my parents, and I had a mom there, dad there, sisters, brothers, everybody was there. Dad wanted me to go play football, possibly to lead on to something larger, but what I ended up doing is kind of staying home, working a job for a little bit, then I joined the military. But no, that's your question. No, he came out when I was 16. We kind of just struggled, pushed through until I joined the military, and I had family. Big shout out to my family. They pretty much raised in those years I was in the military, so I was able to come home and be there. And they sent me to Japan, my first duty station. So I was like gone. And after a while, he came out and lived with me, and I got to Jacksonville. But I was terrified. So gotten better down the line, but like at first, no. I was just like, what I'm supposed to be? I don't know. No idea.
Oh, thank you for that honesty.
All right.
I heard somebody else say absolutely not.
Somebody did. They said no. Go ahead.
No. Like kids are like little terrorists. They are. Anybody who says that they're going, oh, I'm ready for father, they're crazy. They're crazy, and don't trust them. Don't trust them.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this: who are the kids more like? Because they like their mama or their daddy. So they must be. Are you saying they're more like mama?
Oh, well, I mean, no, of course not. Like me, but that's the thing though. Kids are a trip because I love kids. I love kids, but when they're over there and you think that you have control of whatever, and this whole beginning of father, no, it's going to picture this, and I'm planning this, and this is how it's going to be. It is nothing like that. And that's okay. That's good. That's beautiful because you get to mold something else yourself, but it is nothing like what you thought it was going to be, but it's even better, but it's just good Lord throws you that curveball, and it's one hell of a curveball. As soon as you think you got a plan, you're full of it. And it's going to be the exact opposite, and which is exactly how it should be, but it's completely unique. And like I said, I don't trust anybody who says, oh, I know this and my plan is like this. And no, it's not realistic.
Got it. Thank you. You did good, Chad. Someone was in the comments. I don't know if you know Ryan Cozier. They're saying, how you getting out of that one, Chad? I think I should do a ringer on that one. But I think you did good, Chad. Good job.
There you go.
All right. And then someone praised what you said. They said, amen, Chad. You dropping nuggets too. Thank you. Anybody else?
I think while none of us are prepared to be fathers, when a man accepts the responsibility of a father, it's a level of maturity that male, you won't see in any other male compared to that male. Because when you can put somebody's life before yours, I think that takes a great deal of responsibility.
Wow.
Yes,
well, now I'm sorry. I always have these secondary questions. So why is it not you all, but why is it, do you think some men struggle with that part of actually being there for their children?
Because because while none of us asked to be here, we're all here, and none of us chose the families that we were born into. So with not being able to choose the families that we come into, some of that comes with a lot of trauma. And so if those individuals experience trauma and they don't heal from it, when they bring people into the world, they don't necessarily know how to accept that responsibility or how to take on that responsibility because it wasn't taken on when they were born. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
Perspective. That's really an awesome perspective.
You got somebody saying that's deep. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just think they repeat what they know. So if they came up and they're like, well, my dad wasn't there and A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they just kind of go with the flow. It's like, you need to be the one to kind of like change that up. But if you came around, you grew up with like, his daddy gone, all my homeboy, we ain't got fathers. We just out here on the streets kicking it. Then I go make a child. They'll be all right. I mean, they don't see like, they didn't see their upbringing. So they just kind of just repeating what they were brought up with. So it's not an excuse, but I mean, that's what a lot of guys that I know that didn't have fathers, that's kind of like where they go just to go to. Like, my dad wasn't around and I'm all right. Like, kind of sense that make, but okay.
See, I think a lot of that, like negative effects, can come from not having a father. But if you have an amazing father, like just the top tier, the best of the best, that's going to motivate you and influence you to be a good father as well. Because you like you said, you're learning from somebody else, and it's almost like ingrained in you because you've seen how good it is. But somebody who hasn't had that and hasn't experienced that, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and parenting is, I know we're talking about the dads, but it's a team sport. Whether you have whatever parent you're missing, you got, aunts and uncles, grandma, grandpas, somebody that I don't know what that is, the pressure of raising a child by myself, but just doing it all on. I was alone with my boys in the house one day for like 8 hours. I was just like, somebody save me. And that's funny, but it's true. Like there's, parenting is a team sport. You can do it alone. But it's best to have, that support. I mean, being a father that is a life-changing event, because at some point you're just like, well, it's just all about me and my wife, and then it flips switches. Now it's not all about me or anything else. Now it's about these guys. That's it. Nothing else matters. The most important title I will ever have in my life won't be anything I've ever earned in the Navy. It'll always be father and husband, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all got to give these men some hearts. They is dropping some real. I mean, they are speaking their hearts here. Let me tell y'all need to give them some more hearts. Make sure you all are out there and you're sharing this information too, right? Because someone can definitely grow from some of the things that the men are saying. Another man can grow from them. So we definitely want that to be helpful, not only to the women, but for the men out there watching. Go ahead, Beck.
All right, we are done with our first round of questions, and that was awesome. Do you want to get any questions, Tana, from the viewers that might be out here?
Right. So we did have a question earlier that came in. Let's do this one. Can there be balance of dominance in a household?
Yes.
Elaborate, John.
You got to give to get. It's real simple. You don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be your way. You got to sometimes see it from a different perspective, and it works. At least it works for us.
Yep. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and you got the yin and yang. And I mean, that's what we got. Like where she probably weak at, I'm stronger at, and the same on this side. If I'm weak in something, like baby, I got it, and we just mesh like that. So I don't think it's a hard thing to kind of like, do that half and half, or like, oh, baby, you better at this, or look at it like, oh, that's the man's job, or, nah, baby, we should be doing all this. I think you got to have that balance and make everything work.
Well, I think it's like as a man, physical, spiritual leader in the house, but then who really runs the house? That it goes back to the dominance of it. Like I can say and influence one way, but who really runs this household? It's going to be my bride. And that's how, at least for our household, that's how it works. That's how it should be, but everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Anybody else before we move on to the next set of, we got a question that came in real quick. Anybody else on that one? We have a question from a viewer. No? Okay. So this question just came up. What is most important in a relationship?
Well, you always fall back on that. I mean, being in a relationship, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs, but even to have love there in the first place is going to disintegrate quick. If you got love to kind of fall back on, regardless of what y'all going through, you're always going to push through.
All right. Thank you.
I think understanding, there's going to be a lot of things that you or your partner might do in a relationship, and the two of you may not necessarily agree with why a person did what they did, but if you understand what they did, it can either make or break the relationship, I think. So it just depends.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say probably communication. I think that's been key for me. I think I've only been married for about 1.5 years, but I think even my relationship, when you look at longevity wise, we've been together maybe 8-9 years, but communication really has been key, because in a relationship, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman, things change. But as long as you're able to communicate with one another, and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, or this is what I want, or this is where I'm going, or this is what I see, then you can't really do anything about it. You can't grow from it. You can't have the choice to say, okay, this is as far as I go. So I think communication is probably one of the biggest things that I think you need to make a successful relationship, partnership, marriage, whatever you call it.
Okay.
So-
All right. Communicate. Go ahead, Beck.
I'm getting ready to communicate. We got to get into our next batch of questions because we got to maintain the time. We want to respect everybody's time, but it's just so much awesome information and so much, that the guys are bringing to the table that I definitely want to get into the next round of questions before we open it up some more for the viewers. So this is a question for people that might have grown up in a single parent household. Dating in our marriage. Did your mom or the person who raised you, were they dating? And how did them dating or not dating affect your household?
Well, because my brother is watching and I don't want him to chime in on this, I'm gonna go ahead and answer it before he start texting me. It did affect us some way, somehow. So there's a little bit of where I may have grown out of a place of hurt and had some resentment towards my mother with certain acts as we've seen growing up. Some of that stuff still lingers for some of my siblings, specifically my second to youngest brother. So it affected him in a different way than it affected me. And I'm 3 years older than him, but we have those debates and those conversations all the time of like forgiveness, moving on, letting go, and actually looking at his or my current situation and saying, have we not made some of the same mistakes that we have criticized her for in the past? So that would be my answer to that. I've let a lot of that stuff go because I said, man, I made some of the same mistakes that my mother has made in relationships.
Wow, that's an awesome perspective, John. So do you think that I'm asking for the single moms that's on the platform, because there was a lot of conversation about how to date appropriately when you're a single parent. What would you advise a woman that's wanting to date that has children? Just one little quick snippet of advice.
I mean, before you bring anyone around your kids, you got to get to know that person, what they bring to the table, how they can influence your children, what their goals are. Many of the same stuff you and I have talked about many of times in the past, but it's just knowing that person before you expose your children to it. Because if you expose someone to your children too early, that can be dangerous, or it could be a good thing. It all depends on what that person is about.
So I have a question that you said that because I was a single parent for 11 years until I met my wonderful husband with my son, and dating was extremely, when it came to like dating guys, it was extremely hard. There were episodes, there was a relationship I was in where the guy just would not accept my son. Like he literally could not bond with him. I would buy books. I would do like extra stuff to try to get them to connect, and he just was not feeling my child. Like, what kind of advice would you have for a woman who is absolutely out there dating and maybe trying to be in a situation and connect with the guy when it comes to like having children? Like, what would be your thought if you all were like on the other end of a woman dating her with children?
So going into sorry about that. So
okay.
If you're going into a relationship and as a man, and I know that this woman has a child, and if me and the child can't bond, that's one thing. So we need to look a little bit deeper to see if there's is the child not receiving him as well, or does that man just not have that nurturing spirit to him to accept that child? Because if you can't accept the child, there's no reason for that woman to even entertain being in a relationship with that man. That's just my opinion, though. Don't
Okay.
waste your time. So let me cut it short. Don't waste your time if they don't want to be bothered with your children. That's just a fact.
All right, ladies. Don't waste your time. There he jumping his nuggets. There we go. Earl, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I just think like if you're gonna go that route and you already know that this lady has a child already, you already have to go in thinking one, not two. Depending on how many kids you got doesn't matter. You already know that you're just not coming to kind of court her. You have to court her children as well. So as long as you have that in your head going in, most of the time you will be okay. Don't go in there and say, well, I'm just trying to holler at the mom. I don't worry about these kids right now. No, you got to go in saying it's the whole package. Like they all coming. So y'all going out, we going out. Like that's how it's gonna be. Like she go eat, you getting everybody something to eat. I don't know all that McDonald's that they talking about on the internet, but yeah, everybody eat.
Not just the one Happy Meal.
Not just the one Happy Meal. You gotta get everybody something.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, good answer. All the guys just gave a chuckle, a laugh, or a face cover on that. So anybody else want to answer that? Thank you, Earl.
No problem.
Everybody else gonna be quiet on that one.
I think they tapped out with that one. We got to get into this. Get this next question about some relationships, Tana.
About relationships. All right. So, why is it so hard for, or is perceived as being hard for men who are in relationships when they have someone that's someone that's supportive in their corner? To seek help, like for issues that they may be going through, for like mental health services, those types of things, support groups, in order for them to understand. Because the perception is that women, even though we're catty, we kind of do this well when it comes to these support groups and mental health seeking. Why do you think men don't seek out mental health for the things that they may feel or someone else may perceive they're lacking in?
Looking weak. That's the bottom line up front. That's the one. If it's their ego involved with it, they're not gonna do it. They'll go talk to one of their homeboys and get that counsel from there. But sometimes just talking to your homeboy is not what you need, and that actual provider is what you need to see past just you. I can only see so far based off my experiences. So if I'm trying to help a friend out, I always push them towards mental health, because I don't want to keep pouring from an empty cup, or my cup is half full and this person over here, their life and their issues is draining the shit out of me, that now I have nothing left for my family. And I'm just going to keep it real and say it that way, because there's nothing more exhausting than being exhausted by somebody else's problems that's not yours.
That's deep. I like that.
A big response, a big, I guess, issue with that is that you can't help anyone that doesn't want to help themselves. So if they don't acknowledge that they need help, then, like he said, you pouring from an empty cup. You're wasting your energy, you're wasting your time and effort to try to help this individual, when they realize that they keep causing the same problems. They're crying so hard in their situation. They realize the pain that they cause them, but they don't accept the fact that, okay, I need help. They just think that, okay, I got it out of my system today. Tomorrow's going to be different. And then it's the same thing. So until they acknowledge the fact that they need help, it is that it's going to be a repeating cycle for them.
Yeah, I think of one of the most prominent illustration I've ever had about someone needing help and not getting it, and someone else trying to help them. Like you said, you can't pour from an empty cup, or you can't make somebody do it. I think one of the greatest follies of man is thinking you can make somebody else do something that they don't want to do.
Exactly.
So here's the scenario. You got a guy standing in a chair, guy or a girl, standing in a chair, and there's someone standing on the floor. That person standing on the floor can very easily pull that person standing on the chair down to the ground. But it's extremely difficult and tiring and taxing and draining to try to pull that person up from the floor onto the chair. It's damn nearly impossible. You have to want to go up there. If you don't, then it's not going to happen.
Wow.
So just being true with yourself and getting that self-actualization is what's going to make them do it. It only comes from them. They hold the power to unlock their own greatness. Nobody else. You could, it's like the old saying, you could lead him to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right. Listen, y'all getting some good comments. I mean, the ladies is saying preach. I mean, well, Bryce said preach, right? And then we got another lady in there saying John Davis. I think that's the wifey. That's the wifey. And to what you were saying, Sean, someone said amen. Yes. I mean, they gave you the yes. All right. So that's another mic drop, right?
Yeah, I learned that at church, by the way.
Okay.
Learned that at church.
So they're saying yes, sir. We'll say. Someone said that's good, Sean. And another person saying well said. So you are definitely spreading some good words. And then we had some laughing emojis just now and what you said about church. Good stuff. Go ahead, Beck.
All righty. So this question is for the single men or those of you who used to be single. This is a question from the single women on the platform. For the single men, why the games? And when you tell a woman you can't give her what she wants, but then when she moves on, you get jealous and angry.
If you're not mature or you haven't reached a certain level of maturity, there's going to be games. I think that's just part of the whole interaction between men and women, the whole cat and mouse and chasing each other game. Games that we play, and when we're trying to get to know a person or when we're young, we're just having fun. But when you reach a certain level of maturity, those games tend to go away.
Yeah, I would say, like, this is real easy for me. You find them where you meet them. You meet a girl at a bar, you're going to get bar-like activity. If you meet a girl at a strip club, you're going to get strip club-like activity. That may be fun for a while. It may come with some doctor's appointments and your bank account may get tapped out, but that's the price you pay when you do that type of stuff. I'm not saying from experience, but I have some friends. Maybe you should meet a girl or a guy at church. Okay, that might be a good spot because then you might get some, church-like experience and some people who maybe want the same thing you do. So where you find them at, that's where you're going to get.
Okay. I just wanted to point out that a comment came across from Stephanie Smith that says, "Say it, sir."
Yes, sir.
And I love it. It's the opposite of say it, sis. It's like the counter. It's like the AKA Q dog, right? It's like say it, sis, say it, sir. Sean, you getting the comments. We have yes. Someone is also saying draining game. With what Daniel said, yes, immature. Agreeing with you. Christy gave us some funny faces. And then we got amen and all righty, sir, tell them. And then another yes. Okay. So the you guys are definitely feeding into the audience. They said that's the best answer ever. Go ahead. All right. Teresa said Sean gave the best answer ever. So good. All right. So moving right along, and then we got another good question from another Teresa that's in there as well. So I want to ask a question pertaining to a relationship and how important is forgiveness in a relationship? And how important is that for when you're in a relationship with someone and forgiveness is kind of hard? It could be from, past experiences, past infidelities. It could be from perceived things, competition, certain things that we've seen women come across and say, hey, this hurt me. This bothered me. So how important is forgiveness for y'all?
I think for a male, it's extremely important. When a male does something wrong and a woman says, I forgive you. And then less than 48 hours or however long it may be, you talking about something or something else happens and she brings up what she says she forgave you about. It's like, did you really forgive me? The answer is no, because if you did, you wouldn't have brought it up in the first place. So that bothers a man because now he knows that because you just reminded him of that after you told him that you forgave him, he has to constantly live with that over his head now. You're gonna no matter what he does, that particular incident or even many others may be held over his head. I think for women that have a hard time forgiving a person because they've experienced something in the past, no one can fix another person. So if you can't figure out how to deal with past situations, then you're coming into your new situation with baggage, and you're ultimately harming that new situation from the start, because you're not giving that person a fair chance, because you're bringing the baggage from the previous relationship into the new relationship. So when you find yourself in a situation like that where you've dealt with someone and they've hurt you in the past, but you want to move on to something new, before you move on to something new, you should make sure you're fully healed from your previous situation, and then try to move forward.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that, forgiveness it's one thing, you don't have to forget ever, whatever happened to you, but, forgiveness is key, because that's what kind of drives into the factor, earlier, one of these wonderful gentlemen brought up one of the most important thing, love in a relationship. Well, what makes love so much stronger is pain. You don't know how good love is until you've felt pain, and you don't know what that's like until you felt, the ecstasy of one side and the depths of the other. And when you recover that and you have true forgiveness, that's what builds that love stronger and stronger and stronger. If it's true forgiveness and true love.
Wow. True forgiveness and true love. Oh, wow. That's deep. That's deep. Thanks. Thanks so much. Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, you can't, like what the other gentleman was saying, you can't pay for the sins of the past. So you can't go from one relationship with all that stuff and then try to bring it and then kind of judge somebody else by that. So you got to fix yourself before you can move on to the next part of your life, whatever you're doing. So you can't hold that against somebody else coming into a new relationship.
That's Tana, I think you on mute. But that was an awesome thing. And I just kind of have a secondary question after I was listening to you all speak about bringing old things over and healing. A friend of mine, a male friend of mine, once told me that sometimes guys look at women as by a Carfax. Like you buy a car and it's like they go through like these Carfax. Everybody just starts in a lot of teeth. So everybody starts smiling with that one. What are y'all thoughts about that? And is that a real thing? Do you all really kind of judge women based off of their Carfax?
Not the miles on it. That's not right.
And when I mean the Carfax, I mean like marriages, kids, divorces, this relationships, credit. What are you all looking at? Are you looking at a woman like a brand new vehicle, like going down her Carfax, or you just kind of looking at where she is now, not necessarily holding over the old stuff?
No,
I
Go ahead, man.
I was just saying, I like a good used car. Long as some tread is still on the tires. I'm gonna answer my question like that.
Lord Jesus.
That's all.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Somebody, I can't even hold it together. He says Carfax, the whole report, it's a lemon. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
When I said accidents.
Oh.
Accidents and all, John. Okay, I think Daniel was gonna say something.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Oh man.
I think when you're dating somebody and you are, I'm just speaking for me, John Bailey personally. When you're dating and you're having those conversations, you're taking stock of all that stuff. Like, it'd be foolish to assume that someone isn't. So if we're on a date and I tell you I'm broke, I don't have any money, I just took out a loan. I mean, this is far-fetched, but I mean, how much longer is that going to go on? So it'd be foolish to assume that in the dating portion of the relationship, that you're not taking stock because it's it's an interview for the rest of your life. I mean, how are you gonna make that work? Is that person gonna add value or take away value from your life? Those are the type of questions you should be asking.
Okay,
that's good.
I think that's definitely a recipe for happiness. I mean, would you say that, Sean? That's kind of your recipe for happiness. Make sure you get all the craziness out.
Yeah, I mean, do you early. I don't recommend. Your life doesn't need to be recorded. You don't have to take a whole bunch of photos. You don't even have to take your cell phone, whatever place you're going into. Leave it with a friend. I got a whole lot of strategies to help you out with that. I'm not going to talk about it here, but get it out early and don't record it. Protect your heart, protect your bank account and your credit score, because that shit counts.
It does. It absolutely does. Okay. Anybody else want to add to that question before we get ready to close out? There's so many questions that we wanted to ask. We'll definitely pass them along. The men actually have the questions on the back. If they answer any of those in their past time, we'll definitely pass those along on the platform. But as we get ready to push forward, because we don't want to hold everybody too long, we'll ask about 2 or 3 more questions, then we'll go ahead and close out. So, I know Earl already answered this question. Is there anything more important in a relationship or a marriage more than love?
I don't know about more, but I know like respect is like a close second. You gotta have respect for each other. Like if you don't have respect for the other person, then it's like, yeah, like okay, you gonna do this? Okay, cool, bet. I'll be here to get back. Like it just y'all just coexisting at that time. Y'all don't respect each other, so it's not really being in a relationship. It's just living with a roommate, pretty much.
It's crazy that you said that, right? Because sometimes when I'm talking to women, they ask me advice on relationship stuff. That's one thing I'll say. It's one thing, and I guess it's a nugget for the men too, I guess, from the women's side of the house. If a woman can love you, but once she doesn't respect you, there ain't no coming back from that. That woman is lost. And I'm not saying she's completely lost. I'm saying that most times, in my opinion, it's hard to recover from a woman who doesn't respect you. If she could be hurt and still love you and respect you and stick with you, but once that respect is gone, it's a hard recovery. It is a hard recovery. I got my own opinion on the next part I was gonna say, but I'm gonna keep it with the men until y'all come on and ask a woman segment for that. Go ahead, John. I think you had something.
I was gonna say it goes both ways with that whole loss of, for me, a loss of respect will equal like it's hard for you to come back. Once I lose respect for you, it's gone.
Done deal.
I think integrity is important too, because when you have integrity, it forces that, or it not necessarily forced, but when you have integrity, you take accountability for your actions. So if you're taking accountability for your actions, you're 9 times out of 10 more likely not to do something that would cause your partner to lose respect for you.
Okay.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, Tana, we are almost at that time.
And we just need to, we got a few more minutes. I just want to ask the men, do you have any questions for the women? Do you have any? If we got it. Oh, we got women in the comments. If you got a question you want to ask the women, go ahead. What is a good question that you want to ask us?
Why y'all bother with football on? Y'all know football coming on. Get everything out the way. You know what time it's coming on. You know what time our team play. Why y'all asking us questions? Why y'all asking us to do stuff while football? Just leave me alone. 4 hours. That's all I ask for. Give me these 4 hours. After that, my team ain't playing no more. I can get up every now and then, but I still want to watch the games. That's it. That's all.
Okay. That's because your wife love language is part quality time. So wherever you at, she want to be. That's what it is. I think that's what she would say.
I would second that.
Go ahead, somebody else. Any questions for the women before we close out?
I would say I get asked this question quite a bit from my wife. Hey, does this look good, what I'm wearing? It's a loaded goddamn question every single time. It basically, it goes like this. It doesn't matter what I say, because that's not what you're going to wear. We can save about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh,
Maybe I can be watching football. So just wear what you want. It doesn't matter. I'm still coming after you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you wear. It's still going to happen. So just pick it and we'll roll.
That's good advice for the women, Sean. That's very good advice. Women, just pick it and roll.
Just pick it and roll. Yeah. Stop being so picky, women, and stop bothering them doing football. Stop doing that. All right. And I just want, Earl just to watch Carolina. That's it. If they come together, it will be okay. All right. So we got one question from the audience. Why don't y'all like going to the doctor?
Oh.
Because I work there. I try to stay away from work.
I'll take this one. I'll go to the doctor. Sometimes the men get blamed for not going to the doctor. There's a lot of women that don't go to the doctor, and you got to stay on their neck about going to the doctor because they got all these issues, asking you to diagnose them, and that ain't my job.
You sound like that came from a personal sense. Your tone, John. Watch your tone, okay?
Oh, man.
All right. Anybody else before we close out? That'll be our last question because the women, I got to put up this. The women already asking for a part 2.
I think that doctor question go back to of course now it's like more prominent. We go to the doctor, get checked out, all the commercials, everything else going on. But I think my grandfather, my dad, they didn't go to the doctor. Hey man, put some dirt on the road, but you be all right. Just keep it moving. So it's kind of we got to cut, brush it all, put a little Band-Aid on it, dirt, go back outside and play. So it's one of those things that you kind of just grew up and nobody really went to the doctor. You just watch your dad, watch your grandpa, just tough it out. And it's like, all right, man, you coughing up blood now. We can't do nothing about that. You need to go to the doctor.
So it's got to be detrimental. I got you. I'm going to pull up this last comment. Becky, Miss Rochelle said, thank you, Santana and Rebecca, for having this Ask a Man panel. I have enjoyed hearing all the men different opinions on questions that was asked to them. Hope it's a part 2 for Ask a Man.
Hopefully. Y'all got to come back. Part 2, the ladies want part 2. Then we got to give them what they want.
And somebody said, walk it off. That's what you ain't hurt. Walk it off. And then put some green alcohol in it and drink some water. I guess that's how y'all heal. Green alcohol and water. Go ahead, Beck. Let's go and close out.
All right. Well, we want to just thank the men. Everybody just drop some hearts. Love on our men. Thank them so much for coming onto the platform. You all are welcome to come for our next Ask a Man segment because that's what the ladies want. We just appreciate you all for coming. And you all can log off or meet me in the back of the studio while we say goodbye to all of our viewers. Ladies and viewers, have an awesome night. Thank these men for coming in. Leave comments, love, like, subscribe to our channels. All our information is streaming across the bottom of the screen. And if you enjoyed tonight's chat, tonight's live video, you can always come on our website, www.sayitsis.com, sayitsiswithlove.com, and register so you can get these real-time information about when we're going to have chats. Our private Facebook group is available as well. And you can also follow us on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, what's the other one, Tana? I miss Instagram, and every other social media platform that you have because we are there. So we just want to thank you all. And Tana, do we have any commercials? Or are we just going to let the guys stay with us as we head out?
We gonna have the guys stay with us while we head out. I was trying to keep up with all these comments. The ladies is giving y'all love. They're saying the men understood the assignment, those types of things. The ladies are appreciative. Ryan Cozier says great panel. Hopefully Ryan, I can't tell if that's is Ryan a girl or a guy?
Girl.
A girl. Okay, thank you so much, Ryan. I don't want to say it's a guy. All right, thank you so much for you all being in. No, we just gonna go ahead and we is just going to log out. Guys, do you have anything?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. It's been fun.
Absolutely. And we hope that each of you enjoyed yourselves and that you will come back. Remember to just stay on with us in the background in the studio. We're definitely going to thank you out there. Keep the hearts coming, viewers. Make sure you continue to share. And as always, as we close out any chat, Beck, what do we tell them?
Be beautiful, be loved, and be heard. Say it, sis.
Have a beautiful night.